maid who delivered praise. Jeanne d'Arc, or Joan of Arc, was a brave, pious, and wonderful person. She was born in 1412 in the village of Domremy. Joan's parents, Jacques d'Arc and Isabelle Romay, were peasants of good reputation who taught Joan, her three brothers, Jacques, Jean, and Pierre, and her sister, Catherine, to work hard, fear the Lord, and honor the saints. Joan did not have many outdoor chores and spent most of her time next to her mother, learning how to sew and spin. After all work was done, Joan loved to go to the village church and pray, behold beautiful pictures of glowing, captivating angels, or listen to the positively enchanting ringing of the church bells. Joan was 13 years old when she saw her first vision. She was working in the family garden when suddenly Joan saw a bright light and heard a sweet, pleasant voice telling her to be good and go to church often. Joan obeyed the voice and was so virtuous and pious that visions came to her more and more often. Over time, Joan became used to them enough to glance in the light's direction where she saw, or so she thought, what were angels. St. Margaret, St. Catherine, and St. Michael were angels who visited Joan most frequently. The voices, which Joan called her visions, told her of the sufferings of the poor people in France and informed her that she was chosen by the Lord to deliver Orleans and lead the Dauphin, Charles, to be crowned in the city of Reims. At the time, Joan could not believe that she, a poor peasant girl, could ever be able to accomplish what all Charles's soldiers had failed to do. Joan hesitated a while, and it wasn't until she was 18 that she obeyed and prepared to fulfill a mission, save the people and make Charles the King of France. Joan's mother and father thought her crazy when she informed them of her voices and told them she was called by God to deliver France from England. Joan's father was determined Joan was not going, so she pleaded with an uncle to depart at once to take her to Vaucouleurs, where, as the voices told her, she was to find an escort to take her to the king. The Lord of Vaucouleurs, at first, did not believe Joan, but, upon seeing the villagers believed in her, he too began to think maybe she was sent by God. A message was sent to the king, and, having obtained his permission to send Joan to him, the Lord of Vaucouleurs happily supplied an escort to take Joan to the king's court. Joan cut her long hair, and, wearing men's clothes, she set out and, after 11 days, reached the king's castle. The reports Charles and his court had heard about Joan had aroused their curiosity, and the Dauphin had decided to put Joan to a test to determine if she was a fraud or not. Charles put a courtier, dressed in kingly attire, on the throne, and he hid himself among the others. Joan walked in, glanced at the man on the throne, calmly went over to the king, whom she had never seen before, knelt on one knee, and told him she was sent to save Orleans, lead him to Reims, which was still held by the enemy, to be crowned, and drive the English out of France. Charles accepted Joan's offer, and an army was prepared to march to Orleans. Joan and her army raised the siege of Orleans and drove the English away from there. Joan then told Charles to go to Reims, promising the cities on their way would open up their gates. Charles marched triumphantly into Reims, where he was crowned king. Joan felt her mission complete and wanted to go home, but the king would not let her. Joan, upon hearing that a city, Compiègne, was in trouble, hastened to help. While in a battle to help the inhabitants obtain their freedom, Joan's soldiers, who were only thinking of themselves, left her to fend for herself. She was pulled down from her horse and was captured by the Burgundians, who, being in need of money, sold her to the English. The English were angry with Joan and were determined to prove she was sent by Satan, not God. Then followed a long and tedious trial in which the judges in charge, who were wicked, deceitful, and despicable men, had all sworn to try their best to condemn Joan. Though the judges tried, Joan's trial proved her innocent of witchcraft, impiety, and all the other charges against her. The judges read a paper in her presence stating that she would submit to the church and asked her, since she could not read or write, to sign it with the cross. Joan consented, little knowing that the judges had switched the paper for another one, the latter saying that Joan admitted she was horrible and false in every way. Joan had a second trial in which she was condemned with heresy and witchcraft and was to be burned at the stake. The courage Joan had had during her whole career suddenly left her, and she cried, "I wish I was to be beheaded 7 times rather than to be burned." But, clad in a white gown, Joan was chained to a stake and burned as a heretic and a witch. After Joan died, King Charles, feeling guilty, tried Joan again and freed her from all disgrace. In 1909, Joan officially became a saint. Joan had been an unselfish person, thinking not of herself but of her people and her country.